Charmian, hi. Talk to me about the current state and actions on global adaptation and resilience, if you would.
Yeah, so I mean, if you'd asked me that question a year ago, I'd have said at COP26, we've had a fantastic discussion around mitigation, and more than a discussion, pledges made to move to net zero. But interestingly, adaptation and resilience was not really mentioned. It certainly wasn't on the agenda. This has been the COP of adaptation and implementation. I think that's what the presidency would describe as the intention when they set out. And so I really believe that as we move now towards the end of the second week, we are seeing adaptation and resilience being discussed at the highest levels, and I'm much more confident than I was a year ago around it. So where is it though outside of COP? So outside of this forum, I think there are a number of governments or countries that are taking this seriously, that have put together national adaptation plans and are working towards those, built them into policy and planning and so forth. But it's a handful. So the majority of countries haven't yet, and certainly the vast majority of cities, which is where over half the population lives, truly haven't got this together. So, I mean, that third group, the corporates, I think it's fair to say that they really haven't got this at the top of their agenda yet. But that will change as storms or flooding starts to impact their infrastructure, their facilities, etc. I think we'll see a change. But at the moment, even those providing sort of emergency infrastructure or services aren't really yet thinking about this. They're still very focused on what they do to hit their emission reduction targets. So there's a long way to go out in the big wide world.
There is indeed, but looking at COP, what do you think will be the legacy of the discussions that have been having? You're speaking there with some optimism that this is at least on the table. What actions do you think will come as a direct result?
So as part of the work that BCG's been doing actually with the HLC, we have put together the high-level champions, the high-level climate champions, part of the UN organisation. We have put together a set of reports covering all the main systems, including food and agriculture, human settlements, etc., and also planning and finance and how to think about that. And as part of that, we've come out with a set of outcomes and targets that we want to strive for. So 10,000 cities have an adaptation plan by 2030, but many others as well. And this is the first time that there has been anything really enshrined in global policy, if you like. So Sharm el-Sheikh presidency have brought this together into the Sharm el-Sheikh outcomes. So it is the first global policy on adaptation resilience. So I think that is one of the things, moving that forward, tracking that, etc., is one of the things that needs to come out of it. But above all, this is something that needs to be done at country level, local level, corporate level. So we need leaders in all of those places to be thinking, in 10 years' time, if I look back and I haven't done things to protect my economy, the livelihoods of the people who work for me or who live in my area or whatever, or the ecosystems indeed, how am I going to feel about that? And we do know a lot of the things that can and should be being done now.
Finally, Charmian, what do you think is going to be the big next game changer, I suppose, in adaptation and resilience?
I mean, it's a classic thing to say, isn't it? But I think technology is an important game changer, as it is in mitigation, whether it's solar and wind power, hydrogen, etc. And I think on the adaptation side, there's some really fantastic technologies out there enabling you to know actually what you have done to soil, how much you've managed to sequester carbon in there, but also how much you managed to improve the soil and make those farmers more resilient. Or another piece that we're doing a lot with is sort of climate analytics to really understand what is going to be the likely physical impact, of different climate hazards, so sea level rise or heat intensity and so forth, and what will that do to different ecosystems, social networks, and also the economics, the GDP, etc., of a country or a locality and so on. And then taking that forward into what are the different solutions and what different impacts will they have, again using analytics and data to really understand the impact. I mean, that sort of thing is a way forward to help in planning, to help in decision making. And it's just one example of many. So I think technology will be part of it, but it's not all. There are plenty of things that we already know that we can be doing and we should be doing. To early warning systems, I guess you could say that's technology, but it's a technology that's out there. It's an obvious, simple one that we should be getting out to the whole of the world that's under risk here, because at least then people can get out of the way. So that's an example.
Charmian, thank you so much.
My pleasure.